Why have you chosen education as your plan?
I started teaching back in 1990 because I really liked learning languages. So learning a language for me was something amazing. It was like being in someone else's shoes. It was like being someone else. I felt that I could maybe help other people who felt the same to achieve what I have achieved.
The teaching aspect for me is really helping them unfold as they want to unfold and doing the best that I can for that. Even when I was in public schools, that was my approach. Even when I worked with special needs students, that was my approach with them.
Do you think there is a way that the international students could be attracted towards Pakistan's universities?
Welcome to all of the participants. And if you know that Punjab is the biggest province of Pakistan, and population wise, with population of more than 120 million, Punjab is bigger than 185 countries of the world. And so to cater for such a big youth, we have to be very aggressive in our policies. And what we had done in our provinces, that we started with computer labs in our secondary schools. We have more than 54,000 schools and we have 15 million students. So it's a big number, and even this number is bigger than the total population of Sweden, New Zealand, you name it. So we are catering for such a large number of students in our schools, in our province.
I try to relate to each child individually and teach individually. You teach both corporately and individually when you're in a classroom setting, but I want to, as much as possible, reach the kids, and particularly the ones that are the isolated ones that may not be reached by other people, that may be coming into school with some dysfunction, that are hurting in some way. I try to find a way to relate to them.
The other form of teaching that I've gotten involved in is teaching adults how to create harmonious relationships with kids.
The salary in Denmark for teacher is in average $48,841 a year. Brazil was the 48th place in that research. Our salary here in Brazil in average is $13,971 a year.
Then we started giving laptops to our high achievers. Economists wrote that Punjab in education sector is not competing with any other province of Punjab. It is competing with best of the Asian countries.
So when it was time for me to consider my own careers, I know I enjoyed music, and I think it was in my blood, I guess, to be a mentor, because that's what I was doing my whole life for my brothers and sisters. And when I analyzed the outcome, I have a brother that's an attorney, and I have a sister that's a teacher. I have a brother that works for NASA. I have a sister that's a pharmacist. You know, they all became successful. And I had opportunities myself to go into business, which I tried. And I had opportunities, you know, I could have been anything I wanted to be.
My father was head teacher of one public school, and he inspired me to choose this field. Actually, in Nepal, who take the major subject as education, they can get a chance to be a teacher, first priority.
I'm going to be 78 in another week, and I'm still actively working in like 10 countries. If I don't jet set around right now with COVID-19, I'm doing, this is like my third Zoom conference today. I'm working with Abu Dhabi, I'm working in Spain, I work with Stephen Krashen and Dr. David Marsh in bilingual education. Why did I become a teacher? I have no idea.
Hi, hello, I'm Alex from Kids Flourish. I'm a Year 5 primary school teacher in Australia. My favourite part about teaching this age group is that I can really make a difference for their well-being. Once they understand their own emotions and can sort of regulate a bit more with themselves, they can then start to expand and see, oh, other people have these emotions too. And that's when we see those beautiful friendships blossom with our kids, and their well-being continues to grow and improve there and to flourish.
Laughing with the kids, and I do use humor quite a bit. I use music to interact with the kids, and I think music is a international language that if you can relate to kids with music, you can speak their language.
When my school system in the United States decided it was going to retrograde and they were going to go back to textbooks, I said, oh my God, textbooks, I've been using computers. My kids are doing critical thinking. I don't want to go back to a textbook. But the teachers wanted textbooks so the kids could read a chapter, answer the questions at the end, and the teachers could do minimal work.
The teacher in Brazil is a teacher not because of career opportunities, not because he wants to be a highly skilled professional, but because he's idealistic. The person is idealistic because of the love of mankind, because of the solidarity.
I was dismayed at how boring the other teachers were. They were one teacher, the third grade teacher, honestly, she was sitting on her desk with her head down and she had all the work written on the board and the kids just sat there and worked all day. I mean, it was like remote learning before COVID-19, and this was back in 1964. So I said, maybe the world doesn't need another lawyer. Maybe I should go into teaching.
Within 10 years, we opened 18 new universities in Punjab. When we came into power, we have 450 colleges. Now we have more than 1,000 colleges in Punjab. From school education to higher education, we invested a lot. In the teacher training programs, we in collaboration with University of London, UCL, Cambridge, Oxford. We devised a plan for our teacher training, and we are now in our third year of this.
It's gotta be crazy to be a teacher. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to make a lot of money. But when I got through undergraduate school at the University of New Hampshire in the US, I still had 3 more years of law school. So I said, well, I'm going to do something for a year to make some money. And I said, what can I do that's going to give me the longest vacations? Aha! I'm going to be a teacher.
In Nepal, people believe a teacher can go directly to heaven because teacher always try to give the good knowledge to small children, people, and do a big task in the society.
So my husband and I left the United States. We went to Mexico, and in 2 days I got a job working with the federal government, working with teacher education in Mexico. That opened up a lot of avenues for me, which I love. So I started working in Mexico, then I worked in Spain. I'm still working in Spain.
65, I got certified to teach public school. So I came very late in life to that stage where I was actually teaching in a public setting like that, in a public school. But and there's a story even in how that came about. But I think it was just, God working in my behalf and putting me in the right place for my skill sets. But when early in my career, I found out I had the ability to get up in front of people, do public speaking and things like that. And so I was very fortunate. I didn't know it at the time, but I was very fortunate to be with a company that trained me in their corporate office to be a trainer, developer of managers.
And once I got into teaching, I wasn't content with just going to the same school every day and teaching elementary school music. So opportunities came as time went, and I got into adult education, and then I got into being a band teacher, or I got into teaching English as a second language. And then I took an opportunity to go to China and teach for a year. And then I went to Las Vegas, and I was a teacher and a performer. And so at one point, when my wife was working in a Montessori school, we decided to go that route. We opened up our own small certified school in our neighborhood, and we ran that for 17 years.
And so I teach my students, be crazy, be weird, because normal is boring. So I taught school. Teaching is an excellent career if you don't know what you want to do, because I like everything. I like elementary, I like middle school, I like high school. I taught physics, chemistry, biology, math, literature, world history, geography, physics, chemistry, economics. And I could just go from job to job in the same school. They just moved me around. They didn't know what to do with a teacher, or they had somebody sick, put Elaine in there. So I would go.
So we have introduced technical education also. And the first university with collaboration with China, we made PTUT, Punjab Tianjin University of Technology, and we introduced this technology stream also because vocational training and technical education training is as important as higher education. We started scholarships program for the first time in the history of Pakistan. Punjab Education Endowment Fund is a very novel idea.
But I've actually taught, you know, like when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do and I was getting ready to retire, I started substitute teaching. And that's actually kind of a fun gig to substitute teach because you get a lot of strange things thrown at you on a daily basis.
As an educator, I have tried to really implement some resilience resources in there for our kids as well. I was growing up and I was about 10 years old. I started having a few of my own social issues, and they didn't just affect me when I was 10. You know, I wasn't bullied as such, but it was more that I couldn't handle how emotional I was, and sometimes my friends couldn't either. I'd get really upset and feel left out all the time. I'd be super worried about what everyone else thought of me. So I was a bit hyper aware of, I guess, hyper emotional, and I couldn't really regulate them that well. You know, my mum didn't really understand. I'd come home upset from school because it does carry on, and it did carry on for me. I started to withdraw when I was in high school, and you know, there was a couple of other health issues that came with that. And I want to be able to give parents and teachers the tools in order to help our kids.
From the Pakistan gentleman who told us, I was very impressed. I was so surprised. He said he had 1,000 colleges, and I had no idea there were 130 million people in Punjab. I'm learning a lot. And from the man who's the oldest of 8 children, and you could be anything you wanted, and you ended up in music. I mean, there's just so many interesting things that I'm hearing. I'm learning a lot.
I could meet many people and see what you guys are doing. It's really fantastic that people are connecting like this. It's very wonderful. Thank you.
I get passionate about sharing ideas. I get passionate about breaking the mold. I get passionate about thinking not outside the box. I want to tell people there is no box.
Without the teacher, how can you be a doctor? How can you be a lawyer? How can you be anything else?